Hello everyone and welcome to our week 6 battle against KreselleKey and the New York Excelpikas. Excellent Pikachus, I'm sure is what that stands for. Anyway, it is like 8 o'clock in the morning. She lives in Australia, so we are making this battle happen to the best of our ability. We've been trying for like 3 days to make it happen at either one of our evenings or one of our mornings, etc, etc, so there's not a great time to make it work. So we're going to have the best battle we can have. Hopefully both of us end up awake and ready to go and into it. So her team is Zeraora, Togedemaru, Mimikyu, Salazzle, Mienshao, Lapras, Megaseptile, Hoopa, Unbound, Type Null, Yanmega, and Rhydon. One of the other teams that does not have an... Oh no, this is not the Ubers League. Oh my god, it's the IBL Season 6. Anyway, check out her channel. I promise you I will be... I know what my team is, and I know what her team is, so I will be doing my best to stay in it, but I don't remember what league it is. Anyway, we are going to be rocking out with Hawkeye, the Crocodile, coming back this week after putting in less work than I was hoping for last week. We have a Scarf Moxie set this week. It is going to be jolly. I do want it outspeeding Scarf Hoopa and anything else that might be scarfed on her team, since EQ does so much work. After I can eliminate the Sceptile and after I can eliminate the Yanmega, everything else does not appreciate an EQ, and those two both do not want their items. I mean, Sceptile doesn't care, but Yanmega does not want his item knocked off, and Sceptile doesn't take 2 knockoffs well. If I can get to +1, this thing can put in a ton of work. Next up, we have Koffagrigus Boogie coming back this week. Haven't brought him for a few weeks, but, excuse me, he's here now. Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split knockoff, Nightshade with a Cobra Berry, just for stray knockoffs and things. I do think this can put in a lot of work. It threatens the Mienshao to not click High Jump Kick, which it otherwise can kind of spam, and it can switch in pretty freely on it with the Cobra Berry, stopping the knockoff from doing very much damage, and then be able to fire off a Will-O-Wisp, which her only immunity to is Salazzle, which does not appreciate a knockoff. This is a physically defensive set, really designed to handle the Mienshao and possibly the Mimikyu if it has to, but also should be able to switch into the Zeraora or the Togedemaru. I don't necessarily love the idea of it switching into the things that have super effective coverage like the Hoopa and like the Salazzle if it's running knockoff, which would be weird, but it's possible. Next up, we have Rotom Heat coming back this week, bold with Levitate, Will-O-Wisp, Volt Switch, Overheat, and Reflect. Since her only immunity to Will-O-Wisp is the Salazzle, I definitely thought it was valuable to bring this week on multiple Pokemon, and think it is better than the Toxic, if that is what it comes down to, since I do think that a lot of her threats are physical, and Rotom Heat handles the special threats really, really well. Things like Lapras does not necessarily appreciate a Volt Switch hitting it in the face, since Rotom naturally outspeeds it. And obviously Megaseptile can come in on the Volt Switch, but it's not going to like an Overheat. I also have Reflect, again, because a lot of her biggest threats to me are physical, including that Mienshao, and I do like the idea of getting that Reflect up and being able to take some more hits from the Mienshao in the event that it does come down to that. Now, I'm running the Wiki Berry, not running Light Clay, so we'll see how that goes, but I think 5 turns with Reflect is enough to just slow momentum and put it back into my favor in the ability to bring things in and be safe. Next up, we have Ferrothorn. Wow. You can probably hear in my voice that I'm also getting a little sick, which doesn't help anybody anywhere. But Impish, Iron Barbs, Chocolate Berry, Stealth Rock knockoff, Toxic, Leech Seed. This is a more mixed, bulky Ferrothorn. Stealth Rock is up, and the only thing that can remove it is Yanmega, which is fine by me. If that thing comes in, takes 50%, and goes for a Defog, it's not going for an offensive move, which is fine. If she doesn't bring it, then Stealth Rocks are there to stay. I'm not bringing Defog this week either. She doesn't have nearly as much hazard stacking, so I'm not as worried about it. I don't have spikes on this, even though I thought about it, but I believed that Toxic Leech Seed, since her only immunity to Leech Seed is the Megaseptile, and the only immunity to Toxic is the Salazzle and Togedemaru, I figured that between the two of them, you can hit every single Pokemon on her team, wearing them down. And again, that is sort of the theme this week, is wearing her team down to the point where Crocodile can come in and put the work in at the end of the battle. Knockoff, again, gets rid of any passive recovery, leftovers, or any berry, and then Stealth Rock wears things down. This is a very supportive Ferrothorn. I know that a lot of people like to run fire coverage on Pokemon because of Ferrothorn now that I have it on my team, which is fine. My team handles fire types particularly well, which is why Ferrothorn was not a bad pickup in my opinion over the Jirachi. But that being said, I do believe that this thing can be particularly threatened by just about every Pokemon in the meta if they are prepared for it, which everyone has to be because Ferrothorn is such a good mon. But that being said, I think it does have some value to me in the ability to get off a Stealth Rock. It can take in Hidden Power Fire from pretty much anything that isn't Mega Sceptile, or Salazzle obviously OHKOs it. Nothing else really threatens it in one shot. The Mienshao with a high jump kick did, but now the Chople Berry stops that. So we do have the ability to rock out with that. And next up we have Primarina Sigrun is coming back. She is going to be modest with Fairium Z, Moonblast, Hyper Voice, Ice Beam, and Energy Ball, Liquid Voice for the ability to power up that Hyper Voice to go through substitutes if she does start setting them up. Zeraora is a problem for this team. Sub Zeraora is scary as all heck, so I do want to be able to break go through any substitute with that Hyper Voice just to threaten it setting it up in the first place if it does come in on my Primarina. Rotom Heat is my one true answer to Zeraora, and Cofagrigus can switch in once or twice to get rid of the Volt Absorb if it goes for a Plasma Fist or Close Combat on my Crocodile or something. But this has coverage for her entire team. It handles... Nothing really switches in safely as long as I'm predicting well, and hopefully that is enough for this thing to put in some work. If I haven't put in any work with it by the mid-game to the late game, it's probably just going to become a stack, just because it underspeeds too much of her team. But we're going to make it work if we can with that modest 195 special attack stat, because that is out of this world. And lastly, we have Kanegus, the Life Orb holding Rock Polish, Earthquake, Close Combat, Rock Slide. Terrakion is going to be coming this week, and we are going to see if we can get a Rock Polish up and proceed to sweep. The only thing standing in the way of a Rock Polish set of this would be something like an Agility Mega Sceptile coming in and setting up first. But Agility Mega Sceptile does not OHKO the rest of my team, and it means it doesn't have coverage somewhere along the line for something else. It probably doesn't have substitute, so Rotom Heat can come in and go for a Overheat and try to get that thing chipped quite a bit. And Cofagrigus can Nightshade the rest of its HP away, perhaps, or I can bring in the Ferrothorn and Toxic it, something like that. So I've got plans. Agility Mega Sceptile is scary, but since it outspeeds my entire team, save for a Selgor, which I'm not bringing, I don't necessarily see him or her going with Agility, but it is an option. But otherwise, Rock Polish does so much work. If I can get that one Rock Polish up, and I did decide to go Rock Slide over Stone Edge, because Close Combat hits almost everything that's weak to Rock except for Yanmega, which that's fine. And Rock Slide will still kill that. And if I can get rocks up, then I don't really worry about anything except for the Rhydon, which has to be worn down before I can set up with this thing. Otherwise, this is the team we're going to be rocking this week. Hopefully all goes well. Hopefully everything is as I hope it will be. And I will get you guys connected. I'll be back. I'll be right back with that battle when I'm connected. And you guys will get to watch it right now. Alright, everyone, welcome back. We're going to jump right into this. I am still sick. It's not been very long since I recorded the team builder, and so you are going to hear that in my voice. Sceptile, Yanmega, Lapras. There's the Mienshao, as I was worried about. No Salazzle means nothing is immune. Nothing is immune to Will-O-Wisp, which is perfect. And no Zeraora or Togedemaru, so afraid of my ground type attacks, which is totally fine. No Mimikyu also means that there is no Disguise to worry about, which I am not complaining about. We've got lots of changing to do on the bottom screen, though. So, no Mimikyu. Lapras instead. Let's pull that in. No Zeraora. Instead, we have the Type Null. Actually, I think that's all of it. So, let's see. I would love to get my rocks up. Yanmega is here as a possible defogger. She has no Volt Absorb immunity without her Sceptile Mega Evolving. And leading Sceptile against my Rotom means my Rotom does get a free Overheat if it wants to. So I am going to lead Rotom and be able to go into Pharaoh after that, if the situation calls for it. I'm expecting that Mienshao to be Scarf, because Scarf Mienshao puts in so much work against my team, but my Terrakion, if I can get to +2, does outspeed a Scarf Mienshao. So, what can I set up my Terrakion against? Possibly the Yanmega, possibly the Hoopa, though I'm not swearing that I can set it up against the Hoopa, and possibly the Type Null. But although, again, I don't love that idea as much either. So there's the Mienshao, here's the Rotom. It doesn't OHKO me with anything. It could just U-turn here. That's certainly something it has the capability to do. Could Fake Out, could U-turn. High Jump Kick, if it's like Reckless. I expect it to be Reckless, sort of. Where's Reckless? Reckless Band has a very slight chance of killing, otherwise it cannot kill. And I can click Will-O-Wisp here and see what she wants to go for. And if it does kill and we know it's Reckless Band, then we can play around that. But I would be surprised if she did click High Jump Kick at this moment in time, just because of the fact that my Cofagrigus could come in very, very easily. So she could knock off, which would be not ideal, but getting a burn on this thing would be huge. So there's the knockoff, and that is what it is. But we're going to try to get a burn on this thing. We're going to land the Will-O-Wisp. We don't really scout a ton about what item it has. So it did, I'm at 112 out of 157, which is like 29%. That's choice banded damage. Or possibly adamant. Now with that all set and done, I don't have my Wiki Berry anymore. I just put knockoff on the Yanmega instead of on the Mienshao. Whoops. But it is also burn. I can Volt Switch here at this point if I want to. Or I can click Reflect. But I'd rather save the Reflect for later, so I'm just going to Volt Switch. There's the U-turn, so it's not choiced in any way. It's not Life Orb, it's not choiced. And we are scouting out some information about the Mienshao. The Mienshao is burned, which is super great. She does have the possible Cleric in Lapras. So I do have to watch out for that. But if she goes into Lapras right here, I can pretty freely go into Ferrothorn and set up the rocks. Although that doesn't give me a ton of momentum right now. Let's see, what does she go into? The Type Null. We're going to Volt Switch out on this thing. Does literally nothing. I could go into Cofagrigus here. I could go into top Cofagrigus and click knockoff. I could go into Pharaoh. I honestly don't know what a standard type null does. Like, would it be running... Does it even learn, like, Fire Blast? It's probably defensive. So I'm going to go out into my Pharaoh here. And I think step one is click knockoff. And if she does reveal that she has some sort of fire-type move on this thing, then she reveals that she has some sort of fire-type move on this thing. And if she switches out, then I could probably get my rocks up the following turn. Or do I just go for my rocks now? I'm going to knockoff. I think knockoff is going to help me in the long term. Getting this Type Null chipped and get rid of the Eviolite is a big deal. And if she switches into anything, I can get rid of its item. Anything except the Mega Sceptile, of course. Which right now, Memphis is the Mienshao. Okay. It's already burned. And we're getting rid of its Focus Sash. It's probably a Regenerator. Actually, we know it's a Regenerator. And it's actually, I marked that it got knocked off, so it no longer has the Focus Sash. This is a free Stealth Rock, and I'm going to click it. Yeah, it can high jump kick on me. Goes for the knockoff. Knocks off my Chopple, which doesn't make a ton of difference at this moment in the game. We're going to set up our rocks here, and now I could go into Cough here, but I really don't think that's the best play, because a U-turn or a knockoff is the better option than clicking high jump kick. Leech Seed is an option, but if she U-turns out into the Sceptile, which is entirely possible, actually I could go out into my Cough here, because I want the Mummy if she does decide to click U-turn, and I want to get rid of the high jump kick damage. I don't want to take it on my Pharaoh right now, since that thing is still very, very healthy. Drain Punch, so no high jump kick, which is what it is. And now if she goes for the knockoff, she knocks off my Culber. We take like no damage, but I don't have it for later. But she loses Regenerator. So I could go for a Nightshade, and she could lose Regenerator if she goes for a knockoff. The other option being going for a just going for a Nightshade's 50 damage on something plus Stealth Rocks, which I'm going to do. If she decides to hard switch, which she could easily do, then so there's the knockoff, which again, it's going to do very little, and she loses Regenerator. That's a crit. And so she is going to gain Mummy here, and take a Nightshade, and take burn damage. And what this is going to allow is for this Mienshao to continue being worn down to the point where it is no longer a relevant threat. If she decides to switch it out at this point, she doesn't get the Regenerator boost. And if she decides to go for another knockoff, it's going to do like virtually nothing. By the same token, I can easily switch out my Cofagrigus at this point. She can't Drain Punch on this right now. She has to click either knockoff or U-turn. U-turn does not gain her very much. I'm going to go into Pharaoh here, knowing that she's probably going to click something that isn't Drain Punch at this point, just sacking off the Mienshao. And Mienshao was a huge, huge problem for my entire team, so I am perfectly okay getting my Pharaoh in here, take the U-turn. It's going to be a crit, of course, the double crit Mienshao, but down goes the Mienshao, so Ferrothorn, does it get a kill for this? I'll take a look at that later. Kills Mienshao with Iron Barbs. Damage. I have no idea if that counts as a kill for Ferrothorn. But rocks are up, Mienshao's gone, and we've kept things pretty healthy right now. Now, Mega Sceptile is still a huge threat. Rotom's been chipped slightly, Cofagrigus has been chipped slightly, and Pharaoh's been chipped slightly, and that thing could have coverage for all three of those. So I do have to watch out for the Mega Sceptile, and here it comes, right away, no wasting time. Now, if she wants to go straight for a Focus Blast, or Hidden Power Fire, fine. Right? What I do not want to see is an Agility. Because as long as she does an Agility, my Crocodile outspeeds. I would love to get a Toxic on this thing. Substitute would scare me a lot. I'm going to click Toxic. If she subs here, then we've got a game to play if she subs here. Mega Sceptile. Maxes out at 216 speed. And my Crocodile currently has the speed to get to 217.5, which means that it does outspeed the Mega Sceptile. LeafStorm comes out, predicting me to switch my Pharaoh out. No, not this time. I need this Toxic off. I land the Toxic. It's got LeafStorm. It's at -2 special attack right now, which is perfect. She can't just freely set up. She's going to be worn down. She can Focus Blast. Even at -2, the Focus Blast could probably still kill me. Hidden Power Fire also could do a ton of damage. Oh no! What happened? Whose internet was it? Is it mine? She actually recreated the crit. I'm impressed. So I wasn't gonna bring you guys back, but quite yet, because we're just recreating what had happened. But she actually just got the crit again on the same attack, which is out of this world. That's wild, dude. I love that. She didn't get the first crit she got, but she did get that one, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. That she got the crit, the 4% chance on the same attack. Wild. That's wild. But yeah, we are currently, so we did DC. We determined that it was her internet. She has switched over to phone data instead of just using the Wi-Fi, and we are recreating really quick. So you're going to see that the match timer is obviously going to be a little bit different. And some attacks are not obviously exactly the same roles and stuff, but we are doing the best we can to recreate exactly what happened, and we are just about back at this point, so I will just keep you guys here with me, as me and Joes just died, and then we are about to go for a Toxic on the Sceptile as it goes for a Leaf Storm, and then we will be back to where we needed to be, and go from there. Now, this thing's going to Mega Evolve, we're going to click Toxic. It wouldn't surprise me right now if, after all this recreation and perfect crit recreation, naturally I will miss my Toxic right here, right now. I just know it's going to happen, and of course I want this thing Toxic so badly that like it's the kind of thing that I might even ask her to like go for another Leaf Storm, but then it just seems dirty. Okay, great. So we are back. So perfect. Let's just message her and say perfect. Perfect. Good luck. And we will be right into this battle now. Back where we were, everything's been recreated. As you guys saw from a few turns ago, as you can see, my team is chipped the same way it was. Me and Xiao's dead the same way it was, as you guys watched. So this thing's at -2 right now. It's probably not going to click Leaf Storm again. I would love a little bit more Toxic damage. I can go out into my Primarina here if I want to. And then just click Moonblast. Nothing wants to take a Ferium Z Moonblast, but I could just stay in with my Pharaoh. She could still defog the rocks with the Yanmega, and I really don't want her to do that, I'm gonna be honest. So I am gonna go out into my Primarina here. A -2 Leaf Storm really doesn't scare me too much, and she's gonna switch out into Type Null. Okay, so what is Type Null gonna do to Primarina is going to be the big question of the hour. Now, I was assuming that it was physically defensive, but for the sake of argument, we'll say it's specially defensive. We can scout out what kind of defensive it is by going for a Z Moonblast right here, which I would love to do. I would love to click Z Moonblast and hit something super hard. So, Sceptile is Toxic, which is amazing. We only know that it has Leaf Storm. It's super fast, which is less amazing. But, you know, it is what it is. We just have to get some damage off on this Type Null, and then get a Rock Polish off with my Terrakion. And I think, let me just calc it, to a Hoopa Unbound. I don't see her running defensively. Close Combat, Life Orb, Jolly, Oko's that. Whoa. I just made it base 255 HP, everybody. Instead of max HP. Yeah, max HP after rocks. Still definitely dies to a Life Orb Close Combat. So we are going to go for a Fairy MZ, and then if she does somehow manage to kill my Primarina, then I go into Terrakion, I go for a Rock Polish, and we go from there. Now that is definitely specially defensive. She goes for a Toxic here, and I'm okay with that being specially defensive. She has no switch in to a Moonblast naturally right now, and this thing is just continuously getting worn down, so I just get to click Moonblast again. We know we outspeed it. She's not running a speed investment, so definitely specially defensive, which is fine. We know it's not physically defensive, which means that Terrakion definitely can do a lot of work to it, and it's going to survive that, and it's going to rest. Okay, so Toxic Rest. But we know it's not physically defensive, so I'm going to take a look at Terrakion versus type Null. Whoops, I just accidentally clicked Caps Lock. We know you're like super specially defensive, but you do have the Eviolite, which means that at full health you do survive a close combat some of the time. Which is sort of one of those things where you just say it is what it is and you move on with your life. I'm going to go into Crook here, and I'm going to click Knockoff. And once this thing doesn't have Eviolite, if she does stay in, we're going to see if it's Sleep Talk and then what attack it is. I'm curious what one move it's going to have if it is Sleep Talk. There's Sleep Talk. What attack? Sleep Talk's into Rest, so unfortunate for her that I do get my Crocodile in safely. Arguably fortunate for her that I don't get in my Terrakion safely, and then get a Rock Polish off right here. But getting a knockoff off right here would be great on this or anything else. Mega Sceptile switches in, I switch out into my Rotom, and there's the Mega Sceptile. It takes Rocks, it takes Toxic, and I have a free switch into Rotom at that point, which shouldn't die to any one hit from this. I also outspeed it, because I'm Scarfed. That's notable. Why not? Why not? Why not outspeed it? I'm Scarfed. There's no reason for me to do anything else other than click Knockoff again, based on how much that did. That did a ton of damage. I was actually not expecting it to be a 2 KO. I don't know why I wasn't expecting it to be a 2 KO. Crocodile's super strong. And so the knockoff was totally free there. She can't be Scarfed. She's Mega. I outspeed her. I've EV'd to outspeed a Mega Sceptile every time. That's why I'm Jolly and not Adamant. And 145, which when you multiply by 1.5 is 217.5. I just keep talking, guys, because I'm nervous that I miscalculated it. But Crocodile kills Mega Sceptile with knockoff. And I'm at +1 now. She has to go into type Null here. It's the only thing that can take a hit at +1 from a knockoff. And it can take it pretty well, but then it loses its Eviolite and it's asleep. So she could go into the On-Mega and Protect, would be another possible option. That is certainly something she could do. Although Crocodile naturally outspeeds the On-Mega, I'm not, I don't think, running enough speed to outspeed the On-Mega if it is... yeah, so there's the On-Mega. She's probably going to Protect here. As a result of the likely Protect, I should just switch out. So that I can get the free switch into, say, Rotom or Pharaoh. Probably Rotom. Just because Rotom resists both stabs, and it handles it, and my Crocodile can come in later. And deal with the type Null as it needs to. But I could also just go for a knockoff and make her afraid that she has to double Protect. Also, if she tries to defog right here, predicting me to switch out... See, this is the weirdest interaction ever, because if she does just protect, then she probably just Bug Buzzes the following turn, and I can just switch out on the Bug Buzz into my Rotom at that point. But can Rotom take 2? Well, probably. I mean, unless she has Ancient Power, which would be like crazy tech. Yeah, I'm going to stay in. I'm going to click Knockoff, and if she doesn't protect, then she just dies. Okay, she does not protect. So Krookodile kills Yanmega with Knockoff. And the reason that I did that is that the Protect didn't really gain her anything. And so then I could just go into Rotom following that. I'm at +2 now. We're still looking at how much I'm going to do to type Null. It's only 50%, but then I take off its Eviolite. And the second one also does 50%, so it dies in 2. And it's only at 1 turn of rest. So getting to +2 should mean... How much am I doing to Lapras? With Rocks up? If it's like Gold, max defense, max HP, Curiosity. Curiosity at +2. Actually not a ton. Surprisingly, if it's Bold, max defense, max HP, I do very little. Even at +2. But, yeah, so there's the Lapras, but I am going to stay in and click the Knockoff, because I don't know if it's max HP, max defense. And if it's not, then I still 2 KO it, and it needs to Hydro Pump in order to kill me right now. And it's not max HP, max defense. So Lapras is going to go down here. It was Assault Vest. So another specially defensive mon. Krookodile kills Lapras with Knockoff. And out comes the Hoopa. I am EV'd to outspeed a Scarfed Hoopa every time. And it's a +3 Knockoff at this point. Oh, it does outspeed me. Okay, so I apparently am not out. I'm EV'd to outspeed a Modest or an Adamant Hoopa, because Jolly couldn't Oko. But we saw Drain Punch with Scarf, and Krookodile kills Hoopa with Knockoff. And here comes the type Null, which has 1 more turn of Sleep. At +4, this Knockoff is going to not quite take it out. She's going to go for the Sleep Talk. What does she hit? What does she hit? She hits Rest a second time on the Sleep Talk. I still don't know what that offensive move was. It would probably have taken me out from there. But Type Null is going to go down. Krookodile kills Type Null with Knockoff. And that'll do it for this game. Great game, Kress. Unfortunately, or I guess, I don't know, I should say fortunately for me, but unfortunately for you, that Crook got in safely and started putting in the finest of work. So that is the way that game is going to go. That is my first ever 6-0 in League format for me, so I've never done that before. So that's kind of exciting. We need to get some wins, and we need to get some differential under our belts. I think we're now 2-4, but 0. Differential of 0. Like, we've been losing tight, except for that one. No, we had that -5-0. Anyway, we're 2-4, but our differential is really not that bad. So we can come back. We just need to get some wins under our belt. This is a good start. Jumping point. I think this team has potential to work. I think this team has potential to do well. I'll see you guys next week. You can see me like waking up as this battle's going along. I'll see you guys next week as we continue on our trek in the IBL. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this battle. I hope you enjoy the ICBA that's going on simultaneously. Take care, everybody.